And we're going to take up a number of items. I just want to ask, as a matter of sort of first call procedure, you will see underneath Mr. Friedman's appointment and Mr. Stalder's appointment, there are a number of items which I won't read into the record right now, but represented the judgment of the chair and the vice chair that these are items that we thought ought to be any end with the recommendation to the docketers they consider refiling them because we didn't think we could do justice to them before the end of the term. I just want to ask you to look at those during the meeting so that we can have an expedited vote because the docket reports for tonight have them as if we had acted, but said we had not yet done so. So it'll make the report without a written report much easier because there will be something I can refer to that is indeed in writing. But I would like to make sure that we're all on the same page with all of these. So, Councilor Danbury.
Yeah.
Vicky, you're the member.
Oh,
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Welcome.
You got
So,
budget items.
let me just start the meeting by indicating I'm Councilor Baker. I'm the vice chair of the committee. I'm joined by the vice chair. I'm the chair of the committee. I'm joined by the vice chair, Councilor Oliver, Councilor Danbury from Ward 6, Councilor Getz from Ward 5, Councilor Kalis and vice president of the board from Ward 8, Councilor Albright from Ward 2, Councilor White from Ward 3, and I don't think we have Councilor Princeman tonight. Or is he online? He's not here. Also, we're joined by our Director of Planning, Mr. Heath, and we have two substantive items, and then we'll get to the others I mentioned at the end. And we have a full council meeting, as you all know, at 7:45. The first is the appointment number 2/11/25, appointment of Scott Friedman to the Newton Historical Commission. For honor, the mayor appointing Scott Friedman, 62 Hinckley Road, Woburn, as a member of the Newton Historical Commission for a term of office set to expire September 2nd, 2028. So, Mr. Friedman, would you like to come up where you can be both seen and heard? This is a rare thing in this electronic world, but we're delighted to have you in person.
Thank you very much.
So we have your resume and you've been serving as an alternate member of the commission now, but have not been dissuaded to step aside by that experience and wanted to sign up for a longer term. You want to say why?
You know, I really have enjoyed being on the commission and I enjoy just the process and learning more about the town and the different historic areas. And I just have a love of the city and that's why I want to continue serving.
Questions from members of the committee? Councilor Getz, Ward 5.
Yeah, the only piece that I would want to know is, for some reason, I'm thinking, you know, how the specific designations for realtor, architect, and someone from the Newton
The
historic.
Action Homestead.
Yeah, trustee of the homestead. So you're not fulfilling any of those slots.
So I am professionally, I'm a realtor.
Yeah. That's fine.
And so basically, as I said last time, when I was appointed as an alternate,
Mhm.
if there is something where there is a conflict, I will recuse myself, and I have done that in the past.
But
Right, but there's a specific requirement in the ordinance that one member be from the real estate industry or.
I think I asked Ms. Kerwin about this, and maybe Mr. Heath can eliminate this, that this is a mayoral appointee, but Mr. Heath, you want to say anything?
Yeah, Mr. Friedman happens to be a realtor, but he's an at-large candidate. Ms. Grissom holds the
Slot.
realtor slot.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
In a very roundabout way.
The ordinance provides for people who are appointed from specific expertise nominated by those bodies, and then there are at-large appointees, of which Mr. Friedman is one. But the ordinance also provides that if they don't nominate anyone, the mayor can nominate somebody.
Right.
But he's in the capacity of being nominated straight away. He just happens to be a realtor.
Yeah.
with
Okay.
opponents.
I just wondered whether or not you were fulfilling that role.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. And Mr. Friedman, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
For being interested in doing this in the future. I, for one, have great interest in the New Historical Commission, but that's not my point here at the moment. I'm just asking the question, given, would there be any significant damage to the functioning of the commission if Mr. Freeman remained as an alternate until the beginning of the new year, when there will be an entirely new administration? And that administration might be interested in having some say in what these appointments are. It's, again, this is not personal, please, it's just a.
That's a procedural question, I guess. This is Counselor Farrell, by the way, and I'm sorry, didn't recognize you properly. More day. The question is, the appointment is to the permanent position. I don't think the council has the authority to amend. We have the authority to accept or reject within 60 days. If we want to reject an appointee, I think we need 2/3 of those present and voting to do that, but it has to be done within 60 days. I don't think we have the ability to modify the nature of the appointment as proposed. If so, that's my understanding procedurally. So now, Councilor Albright, you want to?
I want to thank you for your willingness to serve as well.
Thank you.
But with respect to that, I feel like we need to squash that notion, because it sounds a lot like the notion of don't appoint any more people because you only have 6 months left. Because that's what Mitch McConnell did to Obama when he was trying to appoint a Supreme Court justice. So this is not how we run a democracy.
Well, some people did run a democracy.
Well,
exactly that way.
I didn't agree with the way Mitch McConnell did
And my
that.
question is without prejudice, I mean, not saying I don't like Mr. Friedman, I don't think that the new mayor might want to consider reappointing, I'm just asking the question. If you do not move to accept his appointment as a full member at this time, without prejudice or whatever, could he continue in his role as a alternate member?
Again,
And perhaps be reappointed at a different time.
my understanding, subject to clarification by colleagues or the planning department, is that he is already serving in that capacity. So if we were to turn aside his appointment for full membership, I'm saying we collectively, the council, I'm not advocating that, I'm just explaining. Then my understanding is that he would remain in his capacity as an alternate.
Okay.
But we do not have the capacity to change the recommendation
I
as I
understand that.
understand that
Thank
is
you. I
made to
understand
us
that. Okay.
on the face of it. Now, let me see, I think I have Counselor Kalis first, then Counselor Danver.
So, Mr. Friedman, you've been serving for how long?
3 years as an alternate.
Well, thank you again. I know you to be a dedicated, upstanding citizen that is, appreciative of all things real estate. I think you'd be a terrific member. So, I would move this when appropriate. I don't think we should be waiting. And I think we have a good person who's willing to serve. We should move ahead.
Okay, let me hear Counselor Danver.
I feel the same way, as both, Counselor Albright and Counselor Kalis. Thank you very much for your service. You've done a great job up
Thank you so
until now. And I don't see any reason why we should even be bringing up the possibility of, putting this on hold and waiting until there is a new administration. The same thing went through my head as went through Counselor Albright's, where, Mitch McConnell refused to, hear the nomination of the Supreme Court Justice because he wanted to wait until, different minds, occupied, certain seats. So thank you very much. I was going to, move approval if you did not, Counselor Kalis, and I'm sure Counselor Getz, in Ward 5. We should both defer to her if she would like to do that.
So, Counselor Farrell.
Just to be on the record, I opposed what happened in the United States Senate. I thought it was terrible, but it was legal. And it was done according to process. I'm not asking us to do anything illegal. And I'm just asking us to consider the process. That's all I'm doing. Thank you. As I said, I appreciate your work and your willingness.
I appreciate that, to be elevated to Supreme Court justice. It's kind of amazing. I really have moved up in the world.
Well, there is one difference, Mr. McConnell, or Senator McConnell, when he was majority leader, didn't bring anything forward at all. We don't have that discretion. We could do nothing, but you would be approved automatically.
Right.
Our process is to try and examine merit candidates on the merits and then make the recommendation to the council, and then council decides. So we are at least acting where Mr. McConnell didn't act at all.
That was an action, not acting at all was an action.
Well, I understand, but
Yeah.
it's a different flavor, and this might be fair. Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to speak for the record while Mr. Friedman is here, and, it's not really anything personal against you, but I somewhat overlapping concern of Councilor Farrell that, it seems to me that you're already good on, as an alternate until March 30th, 2028. So you're set for, what, 2.5 more years? My concern is that we don't have anybody on the commission now who has the kind of historical preservation, hands-on type expertise or professional expertise that we had when we had, you know, Jennifer Bentley or Amanda Stouffer, Park Stouffer. And I personally would like to see that hole filled before we do any more approvals. It also concerns me that, you know, the mayor in her letter today said, you know, it's hard to get people to serve, and yet Nancy Grissom, who is a current member, is not hearing back on her application, and she's being told that, you know, the commission is full, but it's only full if you count her and John Rice, who I guess is leaving, and Katie QB, who I guess is already left. So I feel like we're not getting kind of a straight story here. And I would like to kind of know more about the whole plan for the rest of the term.
Well, my understanding of from the beginning, Ms. Curran indicated that Ms. Grissom, who is currently serving and continues to serve as a holdover, her term of office expired in last year, 2024. But that the mayor's intention is to submit her application. So that's what Ms. Curran wrote me today, and she called me to indicate that as well.
I feel
So
better once I see that.
I'm happy to share the email, but there's also an oral representation to the same effect. Any other comments or questions, members of the committee? So we have a potential motion, but I'm not sure who's the maker at this point. Is Councilor Kalis, are you the maker of the motion?
Unless you want to make.
Do you live in Ward Point?
I
No,
mean,
I'm sorry.
Love it.
Yes, Robin.
I'm
Is
sorry.
Robin still in Ward 5?
Yes.
I think that's where we keep.
There's been an invasion by Wellesley to the best.
I just got very confused because I was sort of thinking that it was. Yeah,
No, we're on Hinkley Road.
Yeah, bottom here.
Okay, no, it's right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Is that your word, Council? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Meet each other, you know, here's your.
So I moved.
Oh, all right, we were waiting for the shoe to drop, but okay. So, Councilor Getz has moved approval, she being the councilor from Ward 5, that's the protocol we follow. We have to sort out where you are and where we are, but that's okay. Okay, all those in favor will say aye. Opposed? Abstentions? One, okay. So, we will report this to the council tonight, and then the council will take it up. But thank you very much for your willingness to come, especially in person.
Okay. All right, you're welcome.
Okay?
Was I approved or not?
You were.
I'm confused on the process.
It now goes to the full council.
Yes.
We are, committee of the council, we recommend.
Okay.
So that's.
It's the Supreme Court justice. We'll have to do some.
process is actually.
Well, I'll wait to the next administration.
I back you for that for sure. I back you for that for sure.
Okay, and the next item is 2/12/25, appointment of Travis Salters to the Newton Historical Commission. his is 36 Freeman Street, Auburndale. I'm sorry that Councilman Princeman isn't here because of the more fortunate. As a member of the Newton Historical Commission for an office, for a term of office set to expire September 2nd, 2028. Now, this is an alternate, and we held this because there was some confusion about whether he was being appointed to the full or as an alternate position. That confusion has been clarified. He's indeed been appointed to an alternate position. We talked to him at length at the meeting, though, on the assumption that he would not be would not have to be here tonight for that conversation about his candidacy. But we were trying to ask questions of him then. So the question now is, do we wish to, as a committee, move this forward to the full council? So,
Step one was on the.
Councilor Guest, but you pointed out the inconsistency you had for.
Yeah, but I was sort of wanting to follow through, so we need to first amend the language. Right? On the docket item, was the docket item right or wrong?
The docket item was wrong.
Yeah, so that's step one to amend, yes.
So I think that's correct, and I think our recommendation would be to suspend the rules, not just to report the appointment, but to correct the document. So thank you. Just to be, accurate, because the docket's already been, the item's already been approved by council.
Well, since Council Christmas is there, I'll be willing to make the motion.
Okay, but discussion first, yeah, Councilor Rice.
So the Newton Historical Commission is dear to my heart. And Mr. Salters has a wonderful background and has done a lot for the community in Atlanta, but nothing with preservation. And, you know, he's not an architect, he's not in the field. He's done a lot about underprivileged communities and working with high school students and things like that. I think he would be great on a couple of other committees, like Newton Fair Housing, Affordable Housing Partnership, Community Education Commission, Human Rights Commission. But he doesn't have any preservation background, and he didn't even ask for this committee. The mayor appointed him to this committee. He didn't even ask for it. So I don't think we should be voting for him onto this committee. And I didn't have the chance to look at these other committees if there's space, but there's probably space to serve in quite a few other committees than Newton Historic. I'd like to get back to Newton Historic Commission with actually preservationists on there. And we haven't had any for a few years. And the same thing, there's other committees like trees committees, people who are very involved with trees and that. They have their applications in there, but the administration is not moving them forward. They just kind of sit there. So I'd like to see more actual preservationists. There's not on the Newton Historic Commission. There's architects, you know, and then there's some people who are, you know, realtors, and then there's other people that don't have any of this background whatsoever.
Thank you. Mr. Heath, you wanted to raise your hand?
Yeah, just to clarify, he did, and you saw this in the application, Councilor, right? He did apply for the Auburndale Historic Commission.
Yeah.
However, he decided that he didn't want to serve on the Auburndale Commission because that was his neighborhood. And he would prefer to serve on another commission. So that's how he arrived at the new Historic Commission.
And they're two, even though they're historic commissions, they're very different beasts, I would say. You know, one is they're very controlled by their rules and regulations, the local historic districts, well, like you live in one too, versus the entire city, which is looking at all the different houses going up for tear downs and things like that. Which is, in the historic commission, it's kind of hard to tear down a house.
Okay, Councilor Danbury.
Thank you. I have a strong opinion about this in this area. I don't think it's necessary for someone to have a degree or work in a particular area in order to be a valuable member to any committee or commission. If you look at the 24 members of the city council, we are not, by and large, degreed in public administration. We have varied backgrounds, and yet we come together, we learn, we take an interest and we serve. And I see this person's candidacy to the Historic Commission in exactly the same way. I don't think it's necessary at all to be degreed in historic preservation in order to be a good candidate for serving on this commission or licensing board or any other commission or committee that we have. So this is Ward 4. I don't, let's see, do we have?
Chris.
No, Josh is not here. So when the time comes, I would like to move approval on this.
Okay, thank you. I just want to mention that Councilor Maliki, apologies, I didn't recognize you by council name when you spoke at the end of the last item. But just so to make sure that the public knows that it was you and because you may not be in the picture. All right, Councilor Kalis, then Councilor Getz, then Councilor Farrell.
So I do agree with Councilor Danberg that you don't need to be degreed. But I also agree with Councilor Wright that a holistic view of who's on the committee is valuable. And not having people that are historic in their background. I don't mean old, but I mean. Have historic in their back, knowledge in their background. I think is important, and I do feel like, I wonder actually if Mr. Heath has any comments on this. Are we not getting people that have that type of background? Should we expect that we will or won't? Have we in the past? Because optimally, I too would want somebody who has more experience.
You directing a question to the planning director at this
Yes.
point? Okay, then I'm entertaining an answer if he has one.
Sure. So we've had an absolute dearth of candidates across all boards and commissions, historic being one of them. So they're operating right now with, I would say, the bare minimum. They had 7 with 2 alternates. Mr. Friedman is moving up to the full commission to fill a vacant slot by someone who left. The other alternate decided not to continue. So the quorum issue is a big one. On this particular commission, there are 4 at-large seats. They range from folks that have art backgrounds to, we have a couple of realtors. It's hard to get people to serve. Mr. Salters may not hit all of the boxes, but he hits a lot of them. And he did express an interest in his statement about serving on a historic commission. So that tells me a little something about his interest and willingness to learn.
Councilor Getz and Councilor Farrell, and Councilor Albright, and I recognize myself.
Looking at the roster right now, and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and 4 is considered quorum for the historic commission. So I feel as if, they're pretty well set right now, and I appreciate that, in fact, this person would come in as an alternate, because I think that there's a preliminary period when someone learns what the historic commission is about by watching and attending. My concern here is the general trend of the historic commission, because I've watched this commission for quite a while, and we have slowly but progressively lost any expertise in preservation on the commission. And I think it's actually something that would behoove the process of considering applicants, that they do look and they identify people that actually have an interest or an expertise in preservation. I went into the ordinance and I was reading through some of the, what is required. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the language right now within the ordinance itself. And I kind of, I'm looking at the, in terms of in section 29-39, the powers and duties of the Newton Historical Commission. It's to cooperate with, consult, and serve in an advisory body on matters affecting the historic assets of the city. To assure that the comprehensive plan embodies appropriate preservation of these assets. So I sort of feel as if we're slowly but surely progressing to a place where we don't have people on the commission that have the requirement to fulfill the objectives of what the Historic Commission should be doing in their service. So I, would like to, I feel I completely agree with Councilor Wright that this person's application is better suited for other commissions or boards. And I would, I'm not supportive of this, applicant, because I sort of feel as if we need to, and I'm also not supportive of putting people in with tenures of 2028. Because I've seen on other, boards and commissions that there've been interim appointments for the year. So it is possible to give short-term appointments, and I really feel as if it is important to not put someone in that has a tenure that is 2 years into a successive administration's boards or commissions. I don't think that's appropriate. I think that if the Board of Commission is fully functional, and if in fact they have 2026 expiration termination dates, that's appropriate, because there's going to be a transition period, but not 2 years into someone else's administration. It just doesn't seem correct.
Okay, Councilor Farrell and then Councilor Albright.
Thank you, Chair.
Before you, I just wanted to say that Mr. Cornelius raised his hand.
Oh.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Cornelius, I recognize you after my colleagues. You don't mind.
Go ahead.
Councilor Farrell?
Thank you, Jim. I would like to speak to the fact that I think that this commission and others in the city do deserve our close attention to professionalism and having people on them who do understand the areas that the commission has an impact on. We don't have anyone right now who has a real history, training, education in historic preservation, as far as I know. So that is, I think this person sounds like a very nice person and could serve in some other commissions. The second thing is, in a town of 75 to 80,000 adults, I find it hard to understand why we cannot get more people. All set?
Yeah, this was a mobile technical problem. Go ahead.
The second part is, I think in a town with this many adults, it's hard to believe with some reasonable outreach, we are not able to attract and interest people to serve on these commissions. I don't know why we don't have, but we ought to look at that for sure. But it seems to me there must be in this town of 75,000 adults, a couple of people who have historic backgrounds and could serve adequately. So, and then finally, there's just no correlation between being an elected member of the city council and an appointee reviewed by members of the city council to sit on those commissions. It's just not there. Professionalism, we need more outreach to find people. And thank you.
Mr. Cornelius, it's not the normal practice to have the public, but you're the chair of the commission, so I'll entertain a comment from you if you'd like.
Great, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Doug Cornelius, I'm chair of the Historic Commission. I do want to point out that I do have training in historic preservation. I was on track for a dual degree in master's in historic preservation along with my law degree. I ended up a few credits short. I apologize for that. I do have a lot of concerns about making quorum for this commission. it's very clear on the statute that if we fail to have quorum, all of those applications for demolition are automatically approved. So a failure to meet quorum is a very big deal, and we've had several meetings where it's become very close. I would love to have more architects and preservation folks on there. I know we've had a difficult problem with architects. We got a ruling from the State Ethics Commission that if your firm practices in front of the Historic Commission, you cannot serve on the Historic Commission. We've lost a couple very talented, we lost one very talented person who was a good asset, but got conflicted out. So we have a lot of trouble doing that. And we've been trying for years to find people with preservation degrees to join the commission. And they're just not out there is part of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilor Farrell, you want to add one thing? I want to recognize myself.
And a brief apology to Mr. Cornelius for not recognizing his background. But I would say we have had people on the commission who have extraordinary historic preservation backgrounds, and they were not reappointed. I don't know why we need to have lawyers on the commission. There's certainly access to legal representation from the city when necessary. So I think there are people out there, and maybe we need to look at the composition and the requirements that are set up currently under the ordinance and change some of those. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to recognize myself last, but let me go to the vice chair.
Great, thank you, Chair.
Councilor Oliver.
I am probably one of the few people probably in the middle of the conversation. I understand both ends of the conversation. There are multiple dimensions here. Where I'm naturally falling out at this point is I have seen a few people who have not been reappointed that do bring a stronger preservationist voice, I think is the right way for me to say that. We have openings, whether alternates or not. My understanding is this board to be 14 people. We're at 8, 7 or 8, depending on which day you count, I guess. I'm more in favor of, unfortunately, passing on this candidate for this particular position than not at this point. Based on everything I've heard and what I've seen over the past 5 years, it does seem to me that there could be a stronger balance towards, like Mr. Cornelius was saying, towards the preservationist end of the conversation. That's all I've got.
Okay, anybody else? Let me go back to Councilor Albright, then Councilor Danberg. I'm going to recognize myself at the end, as I said.
So, a quick question for Mr. Heath. Does staff help in doing analysis of these projects?
Of course, yeah, we have
So you
trained professionals.
You have historic planners that
Yep.
participate?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that it's not all up to the commission members to do the analysis. Staff also does analysis and they write the reports. I
That's
believe.
correct.
The other thing I wanted to say is that there's something or a kind of person that we don't have very much of in Newton on any of our commissions or very few of our commissions. And that's somebody of color. And somebody of color wants to step forward and serve this community. And he's somebody who appreciates historic homes. That's why he moved to the Auburndale. That's why he tells us why he moved to Auburndale. So there's also a quorum issue, and I've been at meetings when there's been a quorum issue. I think we ought to give this guy an opportunity. He represents a segment of our society that we don't have very much serving in our commissions and boards, and I absolutely think we should approve him.
Councilor Danberg.
Thank you. Councilor Albright has just said a lot of what I was going to say. So I will second everything that you said. And in addition to that, we also, from what I understand, have 2 more seats that are going to be unfilled, the people that are stepping aside. John Rice is stepping aside. He will be working with the new mayor in all likelihood. And Katie Cubey is also stepping aside. That leaves Mr. Cornelius and the rest of the Historic Commission with a real problem in achieving a quorum. This is historically, we have not come out against people who did not have the exact degrees that we are looking for on our commissions, because we can't always find them. I agree that it would be wonderful to have people with historic degrees and preservation backgrounds on this committee, and I hope we find some, maybe when these next two slots open up, we will be able to find people with historic preservation backgrounds. But just as Council Wright has said that she has a great interest in historic preservation, I'm the same way. For the past 40 years, I have been very interested and active in historic preservation and in the in my community and in the greater Boston at large. And I think that we should give this gentleman an opportunity to serve. I think he will do the committee justice, and I think we have an opportunity when the next openings occur, which are going to be very soon, to look for someone and hope that someone would step up who has a historic preservation degree. I will start looking myself if I can help, but I am absolutely in favor of this confirmation.
Okay, Councilor Wright and then Councilor Kaylee.
So,
It's 7:35.
yeah. So one of the problem, there have been competent, great candidates, and the mayor hasn't brought them forward, and in other commissions too, with the right background. And so, and I am going to work hard to find some people too, but again, it's the mayor's the one that has to nominate them, and that has been an issue in the past. I think this candidate, he would be wonderful in quite a few other committees, and he could, you know, start out running with all his background and experience. And he would be a great voice on there, but I don't think that this is the correct commission for him, and I will be voting no.
So Councilor Kaylee, Vice President.
So, the quorum issue, the fact that we have two more openings, both are pushing me to vote yes, because I think we need people. And he will be good. I do want more people that have historic preservation background, and I think in the future, I would not vote for others that do not have it. That's it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna repeat myself here. I'm counting without John Rice and with the removal of both Katie Kuby and Peter Less, who was considered an alternate. There is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members. John Rice would step away, but that's 7 members for the commission. So 4 is considered quorum. And I've seen that in multiple documents, Mr. Cornelius. So I feel like we're in a good place. And I really would like to see other candidates proposed for the Historic Commission.
Okay, Councilor Albright.
I don't know about you, but I've seen many meetings of various boards and commissions where quorum is an issue, because it's not like us that we're elected to do this job. These are people who are doing a volunteer job. The meetings come up and then they can't be at a meeting. And that puts the whole thing into question as to whether it can happen or not. I've seen quorum be an issue on this commission as well as others. The other thing I have to say, and that probably doesn't need to be said, but because this guy is black, doesn't mean that he knows anything about housing. He has nothing about housing in his background. Why would you put him on a housing partnership?
Oh, he does, he does.
He has equity and things like that.
No, he's volunteer.
Hey, wait a minute, look, we got about 5 minutes, I only get, I still got a whole bunch of docket items, but the the president, acting president sitting here, so he's held hostage until we're done.
Just lock the door.
Just lock the door. All right, so, Councilor Farrell, just,
Well, one thing is, with all due respect, I had no idea what this person's background is. And it's totally irrelevant. I couldn't be a stronger advocate for having greater inclusion throughout the city in government. But that person's racial background has no bearing on this at the moment. It doesn't. There are people who have, and you don't have to have a degree in historic preservation. You have people like our colleague Councilor right here, who has a lot of experience in preservation. There are people out there, and I think one of the things we need to look at as a council is what is keeping people from being on these commissions? Why are we having such a hard time recruiting people to do great work for the city? There's gotta be a reason why this is happening. Thank you.
move to a vote here unless there's some.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it.
Maliki, you
Answer his
were
question.
diverted by technology, so I give you a shot here.
Diverted by a very brief finance meeting. Perhaps we would have better luck getting applicants interested in historical preservation if this administration were not perceived as so indifferent to historical preservation. We've had, Peter Diamond was not renewed, Jennifer Bentley was never promoted to full, that's a different story.
She wasn't?
But I think we need to publicize that we are welcoming of people who care about historical preservation. I mean, I can think off the top of my head, Mary Ellen Fitzpatrick, she's a professor of historical, she's from Newtonville. Laura Foote was very involved in trying to get a historic district. If you want somebody who's just a regular person without the professional expertise, Mary Lee Belleville is at literally every meeting. She'll be there for 3 hours. And she.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, so there are people with a demonstrated interest who have seen and sat through historical commission meetings in the past and know what's involved. And they, I'm sure, feel not welcome by this administration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me just express my views and then we'll vote if you're comfortable with that. We have a candidate before us as opposed to candidates who are not before us, so I'm going to vote on the basis of what I had. I do think I was impressed by this individual on the merits. I don't think it's a fatal flaw that he's a lawyer. I hope that's all right. And that he had some time and experience in the southern climate, both of which I think are not disabilities in my view, but never mind. So I'm going to support his candidacy. I do think the quorum issue is important for one more reason. We do occasionally have conflicts of interest that come up that deprive people of the ability to serve on a specific item because of the proximity to or relationship with an applicant. And so I'm sensitive to that. And he is being appointed only to an alternate position, not to the full position. We have other positions that apparently will open up and an opportunity. I hope that other people will be able to come forward and serve. But at the moment, he is our candidate and I'm going to support his candidacy. So at that point, let me just get a sense of the committee. All those in favor? Oh, wait a minute, I need a motion. I think somebody, Councilor Danford has moved it. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
So that's, how many count? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, opposed? 3, abstention. Okay, so it's 4-3, and I'll report this to the council at the conclusion. Now, so don't go away. We have this long agenda.
Are we gonna really?
We're gonna do that, and I'm just gonna top it out on a kind of a first call basis. If you want anything other than what's recommended here on these various items, which I will not read into the record in order to get us out to the meeting in time, but they are,
The first one is setting a public hearing.
yeah, the one thing we have to do is set a public hearing. Thank you, which is the 25th, 375-24. We want to set a public hearing on the 25th for that item. That's Councilors Kelly and Lipoff requesting possible amendments related to routine residential alteration. I'll accept a motion to set the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then the other items are no action necessary in order to dispose of them before the end of the term, but with a recommendation in some cases that they be refiled by the doctors if they so choose. Yes,
I thought 24-24 was gonna be combined with something else. No?
Yes. When we agreed to put these all on the list, there were a handful, if you recall, that I was reaching out to councilors, you know, hey, what if and how, and are we gonna be able to get updates? I didn't know if, Director Beef had a chance to kind of figure out a couple of those answers with app or not. And I do believe that 24-24 was the one item that I think we three, no, you, Andrea, and I spoke about. So I just moved, we hold 24-24 for now, because
okay,
that one does require a little conversation
all right,
first.
that's fine. We just sort of take it off as in the vote.
Sure.
Okay,
Right,
so I
we can
wouldn't
skip
include that.
one. And then the only other one, if I recall, sorry, I'm going through this. Large projects.
Well, I can read them off just for
No,
the public.
and the only one I didn't bring up that was on your collective plate was the raised flower beds, and we
Yeah.
figured that could wait till winter because of where we are and we need to get stuff done. That-
All right.
That was it.
Okay.
Is that all right?
With the pinky swear that we'll do it in the winter. All right.
So, so the residential alterations by right is not any end, it's just going to be set for a public hearing. Just so the discussion of ZAP work plan, we don't need to do that now. The amendments, any small businesses, this is the one you talked about, Councilor Wright, and Councilor, Mr. Heath, you want to say any more about that, or should, we're just gonna hold that one?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, the grade changes because of stormwater, that's 76-24. We've dealt with the height and we've dealt with the retaining walls, which seem to be sufficient. Yeah,
Yeah,
Councilor.
the other thought that I'm having is that actually should move into public facilities in some way. Yes.
Pre-budget discussion, obviously the budget has gone by, it'll do that next time. Discussion of new gov, we had the discussion of that. Metrics in the reporting process and community engagement for large projects. These are ones we recommend that you consider redocketing because they are important, but they just don't think we can do justice to them this term. Not because they're not important. Okay, and then on the back page, raised beds in the setback, again, that was Councilor Albright's item. And then residential use of electricity is already being discussed in public facilities. So with the exception of taking out the one we voted for public hearing and the one 24-24, I would accept a motion to approve the recommendations as set forth in the agenda, which I would then report to the full council.
So
Okay, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. We'll see you across the hall.
We take a little.
Thank you for reminding me about the public hearing.